Hi everybody, hi, Kelvin here from London, Stereo Review X. This is my channel. I review mostly vintage amp speakers and occasionally modern equipment, or any equipment I get my hands on, and anything I think that sounds good. I'm trying to find out, trying to share my knowledge of what sounds good, really, because I've been dabbling with hi-fi for 40 years. Okay, today we're going to review these Bowers & Wilkins DM4s. I'll just give you a look at those. They're actually, I don't know how well you can see it, they're really gorgeous looking, these rosewood, which actually I don't think anyone actually makes speakers in rosewood anymore because it's like too endangered, But anyway, good looking speakers from 1974, rated at 30 watts. What would you pay for these? Well, I literally just bought these 2 weeks ago on eBay in London. I paid £125 for them. I think that is an absolute bargain. I mean, if you know eBay, you'll know, if you go on eBay, you'll see people saying, buy it now, these speakers, £275, £295, God knows, there can be crazy ones, to be honest. But to me, pay up to £200 for these, if they're working right, really, really worth it. Because these do certain things very, very well. Certain things really, really well. Other things not so well. But, when something is, part of it is really, really good, that can be very involving. Anyway, I'll get to that in a second. So yeah, okay. I'll do the drivers for you. So it's three-way, there's three drivers, but really these are just two tweeters. It's a tweeter and a super tweeter, yeah? This comes in, I think maybe even 12,000 hertz, so really high, yeah? I mean, I have to put my ear close to hear it, but I have tried covering these up, and you do miss it, do you know what I mean? So, but what this is a tweeter and a super tweeter, not a mid-range driver. That's Celestion driver. This is a cold super tweeter, and this is Bowers & Wilkins' own bass driver, I believe. And it's ported. And anyway, good solid construction and good looking. Couple of things talking about drivers. If we look behind this one, so that there, that's a Spender BC1. So that's like a £400–500 pair of speakers. And you can see they have the same tweeters. And I'm mentioning that just to say, this is a bit like a small brother of a Spender BC1, if you know what those sound like. I mean, the other thing is the Spender, which has a really complex crossover on it, even in the top end, just thinking of the top end, listening to the top end of those Spenders actually does sound a bit better, for sure. It's a little bit brighter. So, that's the crossover at work, I presume, But anyway, I'll get into what these things sound like. Oh, well, actually, let me tell you this, because I'll tell you what happened when I got these speakers. It's quite an interesting event. So I got these, I put them on some stands. First thing I did, which was an error, I had them too close to me, because I've been listening to these very small Rogers, and you need to have those close to you for it to really happen. So I put them close to me. Anyway, I'm listening to it, I'm thinking, the bass is really quite disappointing here, right? So what can I do? So I did this thing, which is kind of well known in the vintage hi-fi world. Put these speakers on the back, took these 4 bolts out. These are into steel sleeves, yeah? They're not wood screws, they're like steel, like nuts and bolts, these things. So I undid these, took the space driver out, rotated it 180 degrees, yeah? That's because this has been sitting in this position for 50 years, and the coil starts to, you know, move probably lower in the magnet in the back in here. Yeah, so this is well known tip, you know. So I turn these over and I put these back, both of them, tightened it up real good with my electric drill. Big difference, I've got to tell you, really big difference. I went from like, oh, this is a bit disappointing, to this is really good. And what was incredible was that tightening up that bass driver, it didn't just make the bass sound better, it made the whole thing, even the top end, sounds sharper and better. You know, there's quite a lot of vocal frequencies and stuff coming out of this driver. So this was just a win-win, you know. So, you know, if you've got old speakers, and they've got those steel sleeves, so watch out, don't over tighten wood screws, yeah. But if they've got those steel sleeves like Kef, Monitor Audio, Celestion didn't. No, Celestion have wood screws, I think. But if you can get those tight, this will make a big difference. You know, foolishly what I did there was I did two things in one go, which was tighten it and rotate it. And so I did two things, which is what you're not meant to do in science, you know, do two changes, then you don't know which one's which. But anyway, it sounded a ton better. And I pushed them back, you know, I put them like a good 10-11 feet from my sitting position, miles better, because I was too close at first, I was just too close. So that was a big thing. Now, thing you've got to say about these speakers, yeah, there's some real quality in these speakers, but it's a little bit reluctant to get it out, right? But it is there. And what I'm talking about is you've got to give these good source, yeah. If you put these speakers on with some trashy amp, you know, say a Toshiba from the 70s, it just never sounded good, you would get nothing out of these speakers, yeah. You would just get, it would just, they wouldn't do anything, right? It would just, you'd be underwhelmed. Put these with some good source, you know. So I'll tell you what I used, yeah. I started off with the Name power amp, Name NAP 100, and Lin Wakonda preamp, yeah. I had that on for a good while. Then I thought, well, I had my Sugden here, which is a very old pretty late 60s British amp, Sugden A48. Plugged that in. I'm not joking, it was just a total, you know, no contest better. Better than the Name. Yeah, Name are meant to be a class act, you know. So that was quite surprising, even for me. And I reviewed that Sugden a few months ago, and to be honest, I think I underrated it. You know, it's better than I thought. So that's a Sugden A48. They're either red or cream and white. It's a really good amp, and you can get those for around £200. And they're getting pretty old, you've got to say that. They're getting, you know, they're like 50 years old. Anyway, let's get back to the sound of these speakers. Okay, generally speaking, what's great about these speakers is the mid-range, the vocals, the space, pianos, guitars. If you play music that is like a guitarist just singing, if you play like Brothers in Arms, Dire Straits, right? Just Mark Knopfler and a very spacious, barren music. These just sound great. You'll be thinking these are some of the greatest sounds you've ever heard, honestly. They're not so good in the bass, yeah? Now, if I was to say what I think goes a bit wrong with these speakers, it's like this cone, this bass cone, it's like it's a bit too heavy. You know what I mean? It can't do quick movements, yeah? It's not fast, as they say. So like when you hear a bass drum, dung, a bass guitar, dung, you don't hear the vibrations of the string. You don't hear the dung, you hear boom, yeah? So it's a little bit, it's not slow, and the thing about it is, the sound is so nice and cohesive, and it kind of luxurious, and the bass is there, and but it's kind of big and warm. It isn't super defined, let's say that. But you know, it's not like bass light. It's not light in the bass. It's the kind of bass you feel, then you know it's there, but you can't really follow the bass guitar. Yeah. Having said that, the bass drum, when that happens, that cuts through fine. You know, it seems to do that quick bass drum, because that's a very big impact. It does that good, you know. So, you know, it's a bit soft in the bass, but the mid-range is gorgeous. You've got two things up here doing the top frequencies, so it kind of fills more space. Yeah. What would I say? So yeah, it needs good source. It's highly involving in that mid-range. You just get really, you can really listen to these speakers all day. They will not tire. I mean, if I was to think of one speaker that you'd never tire of, this will be it. Yeah, this will be it. But you've got to give it some good source, and it will reward you. Yeah, you give it good information, good stuff will come out. You give it not good information, it can't do anything. So it's like the quality's there, but you've got to sort of kind of tweak it out of it, you know. Positioning, you know, don't have cables that are giving you lots more, adding bass or boosting bass and reducing treble. So yeah, a little bit of tweaking, which I did. I actually did some cable changing arounds, which I hardly ever do, but I managed to brighten the sound a little bit, changing speaker cables, you know. But I'm going to do a thing on speaker cables soon. Okay, let me do some songs now. What I usually do is just go through a bunch of songs, which you can also listen to at home, and by the time I finish that, you'll definitely know what these speakers sound like. So, okay, first song, I do this song a lot. It's called Too High, Stevie Wonder. It's a great song for testing your hi-fi. So these are my notes. Too high, great, sublime vocals, right? I mean, this is extreme, yeah, sublime. But honestly, there's some girl singers at the beginning of that. Do 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 do. Doesn't really go like that. Something like that, right? There's some girl singers at the beginning, and it's just super duper. I don't really hear it ever getting any better. Great, sublime vocals. The ride cymbal is just great and detailed and subtle. The harmonicas are great. I put here, these speakers work great with this song, and that's because it's not a super busy song, and it hasn't got a ton of bass information. Yeah, it's just not a busy musically that busy. But I'm not following the bass. Yeah, I'm just not following the bass line, because it's kind of coming second to the more interesting mid-range, and it's not easily defined, the bass line. Okay. Okay. Take It Easy, the Eagles. Good vocals, very smooth, kind of warm sound. The bass isn't really pumping. I'm not getting quite the foot tapping bass, but I am getting glorious mid-range. And then I did Witchy Woman, the Eagles, which was strangely better, kind of better than I expected. Very nice, spacious song. Male vocal on that, really good, just really good. They make the vocals sound really like, I don't know, kind of chesty and authentic, and you know, you're really kind of getting almost in the room vocals, you know, just authentic, you know, it's just accurate, you know. That's why you might, you know, that's that sort of British thing really. It's a bit understated, it's not brash, it's not bright, but you know, everything's getting done pretty accurately and nothing's getting done wrongly, yeah, and the vocals are just getting done lovely, just lovely. I also did a song called Kitty's Back, Bruce Springsteen, which I did that song because it's a very busy song and I thought I should do something demanding for these speakers, and in actual fact they were pretty fine about it. All the bass drum stuff I was getting, I don't know, it didn't disappoint me. So, you know, I'm just telling you exactly how it is, how I, you know, reacted when I heard, and I got here, the saxophone on that was just great. Things like saxophones, wood blocks, vocals, guitars, just come out really good. Nice, accurate, really nice. I mean, these are better than a lot of the stuff that they would have been their peers at the time, yeah? These are better things. I mean, I don't know how much they were to buy at the time, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were more expensive than, you know, Wharfdale Lintons, I don't know, Celestian, Ditton 15s. They're a bit more of a class act than most, you know. They're like a little brother to the Spender BC1. I'll tell you a quick other bit of information about these speakers. I've got these here, these KEF LS50s, which you probably know, and you can buy these presently for about £800. A friend of mine had these, yeah, and he wasn't mad about them and he wasn't sure what was going on. I bought him round a pair of these, not these ones, but another pair which I got. And you know what? He's kept these, right? He's kept these in front of these, and he also had a pair of Spendor, it's either A6R or AR6, which are recent speakers, yeah, within the last 10 years. Floor standers, yeah, big floor standing speakers that cost like £2,000 new, yes. He's presently got these on, listening to on a quad Vina amplifier. That's a totally modern quad, which sounds really nice. So he prefers these to the KEFs and the floor standing Spenders, and so do I, right? So, you know, make of that what you will. I mean, to be honest, I'm always slagging these speakers off, these KEF LS50s. I play them to people in my house. Nobody likes them. Nobody likes them. There's no magic. There's no magic in these speakers. I mean, maybe if you put 200 watts of something superb into them, they'll deliver. I mean, they've got a lot of nice bass, but there's no magic, there's no space. I prefer these. My mate prefers these. No one else is liking these. That's just the way it is, right? And you know, this is mad, isn't it? Because these are 800 quid and you can get these for 125 quid. And this looks like a spaceship. And you think, oh my God, the technology that's gone into that. They must sound great. What happened? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know what they're up to in these research places. I don't know what's going on. So anyway, okay, quick summing up. These are real class things. You'll get a gorgeous mid-range out of this. Feed it with some good sauce and it'll really deliver. Yeah, it will really deliver. No point putting bad sauce material into these speakers. It won't deliver. They're kind of shy. You need to give them something good, position them good, and you'll get some of the best mid-range out there. Yeah. Okay. So look, like and subscribe if you want, and yeah, that's about it. Okay. Bye for now.